Hello everyone, welcome back to our third devlog. Today I kind of decided we were going to take a little bit of a break from pixel art, mainly just because I've been coughing and sneezing so much. So I decided we'd go into Unity for a little bit and maybe work on something a little different. So what we're going to do is our character that we've been designing with pixel art, Daphne, we are going to create her shop. So she's going to be running our little fishing shop in our little village. So I think we're going to start just by creating her shop, and it'll eventually also be where she lives, but that we might finish up doing another day. We're just going to kind of get a nice rough little outline of what we want the interior of her shop to look like. Oh, help if we grab the right tools here. And just start getting that design. Now, this is always quite interesting for me because I find it very difficult. I'll probably end up resizing this a couple times, and then we're just going to give it a nice outline. Kind of like all the shops in Stardew Valley have that nice border that kind of goes around the edge of their shop. So that's what we're going to add in here. And then of course we're going to add some to the sides and all the way around. And like I said before, we're probably going to end up adding in her living quarters as well, but I don't know if we'll get to that today. These little projects here usually take me several hours to do. There's just so many little details to think about and to kind of decide on what we want to do and what we want to use. And then let's make our little entrance for the doorway here. Do that as well and get that added in here. It's always interesting when we go about and design the interiors of all the shops because we really have to think about the character themselves, what are their interests, what do they like, what do they not like, and I'll post a link to all of the asset packs that I'm using below. It's all by the same artist. I very much enjoy their artwork. Okay, so we have our little shop set up here. So now we have to actually go about filling it with all the wonderful things that we want inside of it. So I think I've got a couple different little interiors, and I think we're gonna look into some shop interiors. Now, I've gone through all of the sprites and I've already sliced them all up for us just to make our lives a little bit easier. I'm wondering if that's too dark. Now, this fishing asset pack that I'm using, it didn't come with a whole lot for interior for the fishing shop, so I'm kind of just gonna be grabbing from different asset packs that I've used, and again I'll throw the links to all of them in the description below in case you are curious as to where they came from, if you would like to use them for any of your little projects or anything like that. I do very much enjoy them. So this is kind of my little process here of just kind of scrolling through and trying to figure out what is going to work well with what we've got. And sometimes it gets a little tricky. If I need to, I can always go in and do some asset recoloring just to make it work better with what I've got going on. I'm kind of wanting something brown, but everything seems a bit off in color, so just scroll down to the bottom here. Yeah, I think it's gonna be one of those challenges. Now, what we did have come with this asset pack, and maybe we'll just cut that out and end up using that. Go in here and open up our sprite editor because I haven't actually sliced this up yet because it's a bit of a project here, but we can quickly go around and do some slicing in here. It's not a big deal. It's just a little time consuming, so we're going to use nice 16 by 16 squares. And you can slice them different ways. I just did an auto slice just because I wanted to keep all the buildings and stuff nice and whole. So I figured I could just manually slice anything that was I wanted to use that the auto slicer just didn't grab. It doesn't take too long. It's just a little bit of a project, but it's not the end of the world. Some of the asset packs are a little overwhelming, and I guess it kind of depends if you want to use like the full asset bit or just a little chunk of it. Alright, so just a few more squares to go and we will be all set. Now, I think this is actually more of a counter for one of the bars that came with this asset pack, but that's okay. We can use it for more than one thing. It's not gonna hurt. And just get that last square covered and perfect. So we'll just apply those changes and then we will have all of the counters ready for our own use. Okay, so what I usually like to do when I'm working with the counters is I usually like to find the very front of the counter and we'll just toss that in here. Now, it's all going to appear in the background for us at the moment, so let's just pull that to the surface. And we'll grab one more because we can always make it longer or shorter based on what we need here. And it'd probably help if we weren't still looking at our tile map. Okay, so we have a bit of a counter in here. We kind of got our border, we've got our wallpaper and our flooring, which of course all came with the asset. I might have to move the doorway a little bit, it's kind of crooked. But we could just make it work as is as well. So I kind of just got it pulled onto a different layer, and of course you can see our little character there as well. Haven't really gotten around to fully designing the character customization. I've been finding is really difficult to try and get working properly, so that's been a fun little on and off again experiment. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of merge our counters here. I'm not quite sure exactly how long of a counter I want to make. It probably doesn't need to be anything like super long, and then we can always decide like where exactly in the shop we want it. And of course we do have this little bit of the counter side going up, so we can actually pop it like right up against a wall if we'd like to. And we're gonna have to move that down just a little bit. I find these are a little tricky to line up after a while because you don't want to see any of the gaps, and of course you can see if we really zoom in here it's still not like nice and flush, which we would really like. That looks better, but still not quite. And you could probably like tinker with these all day and they'd still drive you crazy. I still think it's a little misaligned, but maybe we'll play with it more a little later. Okay, so for the sides of our counters, so those are going to be our pieces kind of like right over here. So we can grab those out and pop them around. So here is our nice, oh my goodness, I'm so used to like dragging and clicking things now. It's so funny. A nice little side counter piece here. We're just kind of gonna pop it in here. I'm wondering if that's the wrong one. It doesn't look quite right. It looks too wide here. So what is going on? We should have a very nice flush. This area right here is kind of where we're looking at, although this is technically the piece that goes next to it, so I wonder if they're different widths, because that would affect the way that it looks. Isn't that fun how you get to go and realize all the little issues that you have with what you're grabbing? Okay, so if I wanted to just make the end of the counter, maybe we'll just pop this in. We could always curve it in a bit if we needed to. And let's grab this one as well. And then this would be the end of our counter right here. And where is our other little end piece? Corner, corner. I love how they hide. So this is the fun little experience that I usually get to have when I'm designing all of my wonderful little game pieces here. Now, I'm still kind of determined to make these fit just a little bit. I wonder if the other side is as particular here. It looks like it's gonna be. I could just resize it too, and then maybe that would help just a little bit. Actually, that one fits rather nicely. Okay, that's good. That is good. Let's get that piece out of the way and move this piece in. Oh, now this piece is gonna... now this piece wants to give us grief. Like, it's gonna be one of those things, isn't it? And that looks not so good. Okay, pull it all the way up here. And there's just a difference in the width here, so I think maybe we'll even try resizing this just to make it bigger, so it'll hopefully line up smoother. Would be the best and easiest ideal thing that I can think of. Okay. And then let's just continue getting it to kind of match up. Oh, there's just a different curve in the counter there, and I think that's really our big issue, because you can see the highlighting runs around the edge, and then we have the shadow pieces here. So it's just not a good fit. This one actually looks like it should be the one that comes over here, because it's got that right outlining, so this one should probably be more over here in that curved out piece. Which would be a little unfortunate, because that's not quite what we're hoping to get here. Dun, dun, dun. Because I really want to get a nice end to our counter, like I want a nice curved piece, but I'm not quite seeing it because I don't want the very sharp, jagged cutoff here, because that just doesn't look as nice as it could look. I might have to think on that for a little bit. Okay, so we've got a bunch of counter pieces, and some of it works and some of it doesn't. Let's just get rid of our pieces that we know definitely don't work. We might just have to give it a straight counter, because at least then we'd have the nice bits of cut off pieces here. So what we could do is we could select all of our counter that we've got to match up and work. And we might even just make it like a nice little short counter. Let's get rid of our piece that doesn't really work here. And that's the nice part, is that you can actually grab all of your pieces and then move them together as a whole. So once you've lined them up, you don't really have to worry about the struggle of having to try and line them up again. And I think we'll get rid of this piece, and then I think we'll also get rid of this one as well. And maybe we'll make our counter just a little bit longer. Of course, I have to zoom it in just to make sure we have the right width and stuff here. But the nice part is when you duplicate a piece that's already lined up, you can just slide it across and it's not going to come out of place, which is very handy. And we'll slide this up into here. And there's a tiny gap there, so we'll just slide that over. Perfect. Okay, so we have a nice little L-shaped counter, so our character can get in and out of there as they please. And of course, this is going to be for Daphne's little shop. I'm thinking the shop is going to be way too long. I'm thinking for the amount of stuff that we have to put in the shop, probably not going to be needing all of this. So what I'm gonna do is something I find I do quite often. I'm just going to shrink it up a little bit, probably like that. And then that's gonna help kind of get our shop a bit more realistic looking, because I'm like, for what are we gonna put in this shop really? probably a couple little decorations, but it's not going to be like some of the other shops. I've been doing a lot of interior shops and stuff like that, and some of them are quite big, but we're talking about like doing a grocery store and a library and a museum and all of that fun, good stuff. And there we go. So I don't think this one needs to be quite as big. We might even make it a bit narrower too. I'm not sure yet. So let's start looking at some interior pieces that we can do. Now we did have some pictures that we can throw up on the walls here that might be kind of nice. Again, we're gonna have to make sure that we bring those into focus here. So we've kind of got some shells, some fish, and we'll do those 2 different fish. Let's do that. That might be kind of fun. It looks like we have a jellyfish. I'm not 100% sure what this one is. It kind of looks like a flower, but I don't know that that's actually what it is. Okay, so we've got our pictures plopped on over here. And now we can kind of move them on the wall so we can kind of get some kind of like little design going here. So maybe they're not all in a straight line. Maybe they kind of are stacked up all over the place there. Because not everything needs to be straight and tidy. And I think that's one of the things that I kind of struggle with the most is when you're making shops and stuff, it's more about the imperfections you can put in them than all of the finer details. And it's quite interesting because it's not the easiest thing to do, because sometimes I'm not much of an interior decorator, so sometimes I'm like, yeah, I just want it all to hang straight, and then I'm like, on second thought, maybe that's not the best way to go about doing that. Because you want to look like someone has actually gone in and done this, and of course not everyone is going to be an interior decorator, thank goodness, because definitely not, right? Okay, so maybe we have some little floaties on the sides here. Maybe we'll have something like this too. Pop that maybe more in the corner, maybe down closer towards the floor. And then we can always put more than one of those in as well. So, you know, kind of just have like a little bit of fun with it. Maybe go up near the top for this one. I kind of want to leave room just for like, maybe we'll put this one over here more too. I'm going to leave room for a door, because what I'll end up doing is when I decide I want to do her interior, I'll push the flooring back here, and then we'll make the interior of her house all back in here. So that's always fun too. And such a challenge. Okay, do we want any chairs in here? That would be another thing to kind of decide. Oh. Like I said, there's like too many options. Like we have a bunch of curtains that we can use. There's tons of little tiny things, and it's like, what is going to speak towards our fishing shop? What is Daphne's personality like, and what is going to be the things that she's interested in, that she's going to want to put into her shop? Now we know she likes fishing because that's her career, but what other types of things is she interested in? Yes, there's a lot of curtains in these assets. Like, do we want to put any trees or anything in here? Posters, lots of trees. She's kind of really into fishing, so she might like a little bit of nature chilling around too. Maybe she'll have a plant off to the side here, just to kind of add a bit of color to the shop there. Make it look maybe a little bit more colorful and done up. Now these kind of remind me of seaweed, so that might be something that grabs her interest as well. Maybe she'll have one of those kind of just off in the corner back here. And of course we're grabbing the ones so the pots will actually match. We could do different colors of pots at the bottom if you wanted. We got a whole bunch of notes. You know, maybe she's like a note taker and needs to remember stuff, so maybe she's got like a little order list for herself posted up on the wall here, just for her own personal reference. Maybe we'll put it a bit more over here so it's not over the counter. We could always make it like interactable so a character could read some of the stuff on her little list there. Okay, yeah, she's a note to the wall kind of girl. That's what we're deciding here. And then of course we have a whole bunch of other like beautiful flowers. So maybe she wants to decorate her counter a little bit. Oh, that's pretty big. So why don't we size that down just a little bit here? And put that on the counter. She's gonna like her flowers that remind her of things that deal with the ocean too. And we got some pets and stuff in here. Like there's so many things. I think these are toasters. And then we've got a whole bunch of other like little pictures and goodies in here that we can place on the walls, and a bunch of different chairs. Like this is the fun part. I find it very challenging, but I also find it really rewarding once it's done, because I'll remember that it came from like absolutely nothing, and then it started to look good somewhere down the line. Sometimes you don't know when the aha moments happen, but then sometimes you kind of notice it as you're going. Now we have like little statues and stuff here that we could add, and lanterns. And she really likes this stuff. So why don't we put some frogs out here? Some little like frog statues maybe. Can maybe put those right near the door. And just because they're facing one way doesn't mean that you need to get at all discouraged, because we can actually rotate these, which is, I think, absolutely fabulous. So we can actually flip this asset right around. So we can have these little frogs just staring at you as you walk into the store if you want. Now, whether we keep that or not, I'm not 100% sure, but for the moment, I think it's fun, so we're gonna roll with it. And we have like a ton of stuff. Now, I'm not putting any colliders on anything at the moment. That's something that I'm going to come back and add once everything is fully decorated and ready to go. It's kind of just my initial work in progress. So at the moment, if our character walked around, they would 100% be able to go straight through the walls, through the counters, absolutely everything. That's what the colliders are there to keep your player from going places or through things that they shouldn't. So that's going to be another day down the road. Okay, what else do we have? We got some mirrors. I don't know that we're going to bother with mirrors at the moment. Lots of storage. I'm not sure if you want storage in the shop. Like, these are the things that are kind of tricky, because it's like, what all do we want to have available? And I'm thinking maybe we should have a couple. I think the rest is just all bedding. Bedding and more curtains. And maybe some plants down at the bottom. I think that I've gone through and cut out a bit finer. Okay. So I kind of did like an initial look. Now, again, I'm leaving this area open just for a door, so that's why we're not really decorating that specific area. And we're gonna need something a bit more, so let's go back to the sprites here. It's like a little maze. And I kind of want to go into our tools, because I'm thinking we should have some fishing rods in here. So maybe we'll have like a fishing rod or two kind of butted up against a wall or something like that, just because she's a busy girl, right? And she likes to have her rods at the ready here. So maybe we'll have like one placed up against a wall there. Maybe we'll have a couple. Maybe she likes her fishing rod options here. Okay. a wooden fishing rod. I don't know about a wooden one, but maybe we'll use this blue one here, and we'll just put it up against the wall too. So she's got a couple different fishing rods that she can take out. And then I think we had some fishing lures too, if I can remember exactly where they went. I'm not as organized as I would maybe like to be when it comes to putting all of my assets where they should go. Fishing sprites. And no, and I got a bunch of fish there, so I maybe haven't imported those yet, so I will get those imported. Okay, so I got my wonderful little extra fishing bobbers and everything all nice and imported. So I'm just gonna set up a few things here. Oop. Compression, none. Let's apply and go into our sprites. Okay, let's see if we can do by grid size here. Maybe we can just do a nice 16 by 16 slice. Oh my goodness, it would really help if we changed the right size there. I'm like, I'm half asleep by the looks of things. Okay, so we've got those all cut out, so we can apply that and go back to our wonderful little shop here. So now we have these bobbers, so we could put some bobbers out on the counter too. And because they're on the same layer as the counter, I'm just gonna bump them up a little bit. So let's grab these very cool little fishing bobbers. Pull them up just a little bit. Now we can kind of have those sitting on the counter, and of course we can kind of have them a little lopsided too in a nice little stack. They don't need to be orderly like we said before. Like, people like to just throw things on the counter too sometimes, and that's all fine and dandy as well. Maybe we'll get like a little table over here and we can throw some extra bobbers on as well, so that might be kind of fun. We had quite a few benches and tables and all that good stuff in here as well. Let's see if I can find them. I think what I should have done with these assets is just I kind of just grabbed like the global one and started slicing through it all, and I think I should have just did the more refined ones. They probably would have been a lot less time consuming for me to like go through later and try to find everything, but it's okay. It's not the end of the world. We are making out just fine. So I could grab like a little shelf like this, but I'm kind of looking for a more flat table is what I kind of want to see. And this is the very fun process. So we have these little tables, and I think down just a little further we had some other ones as well. Oh, where did they disappear to? I'm like, I caught a very small glimpse of them. No, not showing up. Okay, let's go back to the other ones. That's okay. Lots of scrolling. That's what decoration is for me, is lots of scrolling. Okay, so we have little end tables that we can use. We have so many tables. We have round tables. I know there's some rectangular tables, and like some very decorative tables. I think we'll go with like a more plain table. Oh, I see I didn't cut all of these out properly either. They're kind of just stuck together. This is kind of one of those things where I did a whole bunch of slicing and I'm like, I don't know that I need all of these, so I'll just maybe slice as I go. It usually bites me sooner or later. So we can have this nice little table in here. We'll butt it up a bit better against the wall, and then maybe we'll move it a bit closer to our fishing rods here. And we can throw some extra bobbers and stuff on that too. Oh, I always go back too far. Dun dun dun. Here's our sprites. Close that down. And back to our bobbers. Maybe we'll put some different bobbers on this table. Whoops, didn't want to open that. We want to drag it onto our scene here and get decorating. Maybe put that one a little closer to the wall. Not going to be fully organized here, so there is the start of our shop so far. Our little frogs are kind of like looking out of place. I'd really like it if they could kind of like blend in a little bit more. Maybe if I put them on top of little end tables, maybe that'll help them look more like they belong. Where were they? Kind of somewhere in this area, I think. Eventually I'll have them all memorized. Computers, lots of computers. Here we go. Oh, look at the little gnomes. We could put some of those in there too if we wanted. And our end tables were just a ways down here, I think. Here they are. So we're going with a darker brown. You know, we could even go with the lighter brown too, because that might even blend with our counter a bit better. Maybe I'll end up changing that table as well. And we'll make 2 of those. So, oh, did I not make a second one? There we go. Now we have 2. And then we'll just need to grab our frogs and we'll just need to bump them up a layer. You know, I think these are too light and they blend in with the floor too much. So let's grab the one that matches our table over here. That might help. Because we don't want the tables to blend in with the floor, because if they blend in with the floor, they're going to be very hard for the player to see, and then it's going to look very funny. So let's, whoops, grab our little frog here that is hiding on us and move it up a little bit, and we'll want to put it up like that. Okay, so not perfect, but it still looks a little better now that they're on top of something. They look more like little statues. We might have to shrink this up just a little bit. I can probably take like 2 more tiles out of this just to make it a little bit narrower. It looks like we have a lot of empty space, and we don't necessarily want a ton of empty space. Let's see if I can successfully grab everything here. Okay, and then we can take that and we can just move all of that up a bit. Perhaps up about there would be good. And then we can go about making the front end of our shop just a little bit more narrow, because it looks like we're gonna have a bunch of empty space, because I'm not 100% sure what I would want to do with all of the extra space. So we can just go like that. There, so now we have a nice little shop here. We could maybe even pull this side in a bit more too, and that'll be something that I decide a little later once I've done some filling in back here. So for the moment, I think what we should do is go back into our shop interior. I think I have a little till that I can put on the counter for her. Yeah, right here, a little register. So why don't we do that? Make it look like she actually has a bit of a business going here. And let's do 1 so it pops on top. There we go. So she has a nice little register going here. It looks like she's in business now. It'd almost be nice if you could do a side one so you could tell that it looks more like a till, but we can always, again, decide to do something different later. We could give her a little jukebox too if we wanted. Fill up some space in her little shop. Just trying to see if there's anything else that we might want to toss in here for fun. This might be like one of those shops where we maybe need to try and design some assets on our own just to pop in and fill things up a little bit. Maybe she has a little coffee maker. Get some fish and maybe place them on the wall or something like that. Show off her wonderful catches over the years. So many assets. Like, I cannot imagine designing all of these. Like, that's phenomenal. I just could not imagine being that creative. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly give it like one more quick look through, see if there's anything else. This is something that I usually do a bit of work on, and then I'll let it sit for a little bit, and then I'll come back to it and see if there's anything else I want to add. I usually have quite a bit of fun doing all of this. I think for the moment we're probably good. I wouldn't call this completely finished. We will probably come back to it and add some more. Like I said, we're going to add her house and living quarters and stuff like that. So we will come back and definitely do more. So to get a glimpse of what I feel is like more finished, we'll just unload this scene. I have a whole bunch of scenes here, as you can see, and the bakery was probably one of the first ones I did, so we can even take a look at that. So this is the bakery scene that I did. So our character can come in, and of course we have our nice little till. I've gone and decorated them a little kitchen area, and they have all their little goodies and places for customers to go. And then I've even done the living quarters. So they have like a nice little living room over here and even a bedroom. So they have some open books lying across the place, like a plate with some stuff eaten off of it. So this is kind of more along the lines of what I look for a finished shop, finished living quarters. Again, this one is not like fully finished. I haven't gone in and added all the colliders. That's something that I'm going to come back at a later date and do. But just so you guys get an idea of kind of what I like to do for the interiors of my shops and everything. So I think that's where we're going to call it quits for today. Please let me know what you think, and if you enjoyed following along. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you next time.